your inspiration? Give me one male and one female actor.
Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, and Whoopi Goldberg.
That's so. I mean, I get Whoopi, and I get Whoopi, but then I don't get Whoopi because of the first two that you said. Jim Carrey, that's you. That am I correct, Alex?
Yes, it's like a female Jim Carrey.
A black female Jim Carrey. They don't even understand.
Robin was my first. He was my first. No, actually it was Jim Carrey, but then it was Robin. I
love Robin Williams because I loved him when he was Mork from Ork.
Oh, yeah, Mork and Mindy.
I was gonna say that's probably before your time. Most people don't remember, but yeah, Mork.
Oh, I studied him. I studied that man. I was like, what is this man? What is he? Like, I loved it. He could do whatever. He just morphed into whatever he wanted to morph into.
You know it. But Whoopi, that just might be an actor thing or something because I don't see Whoopi in you at all. That just got to be you just admire her and her acting skills, and who she is, and it's got to be that.
I honestly, I admire her a lot, especially in her work in The Color Purple and Karina. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys seen Karina.
I did. My daughter watched it 3 times. I couldn't forget if I wanted to.
That movie, I don't know, like I felt like, I know a lot of people who know me, they're like, really, Whoopi? But part of me is like her, someone who like, I don't know, like she knows how to adapt to anybody, any age. Mm-hmm. You know that. And she knows how to, and for me, she was like a chameleon. It was like, yeah, she was this Black woman, but when she did roles, she got nominated for an Oscar for playing a sidekick. Like that inspired me so much as I got older, because it was like, that was the first time I saw a Black female play a role that wasn't a slave or a maid. It was just something quirky and weird, and it was so authentic. It was like, there are psychics out there that are, they're not real, and they just take your money, they scam you, and it was like she won an Oscar for that, and that for me was like groundbreaking. As a child, I was just like, wow, like I want.
It's so weird because as a writer, I watched the movie. I watched it several times. And watching her performance, as well, back then we had the VHS or whatever, I would sometimes just keep rewinding it and just, I don't know, it was doing something for my writing. That's when I started realizing that I didn't just want to write, I wanted to write for actors.
Yes.
I just got this feeling like, wow, you could possibly write for Whoopi. And then when she played Tyler Perry, I read an article that she had asked Tyler Perry, like, why don't you do For Color Girls? Like, you should, really film that. And I said to myself, okay, because see, sometimes you just think that actors just act. You don't think that they talk to their friend producers and encourage them, what would be good for you? So I just thought that something to the agent brings it if they think they'll like it, and they say yes or no, and then move on. That's what I always thought. And when I read the article that she talked to Tyler Perry, and then he did it, and then, of course, she played one of the roles, I thought about that. I thought about Tiffany Hash's mother, and I was like, yo, it's a possibility. Now I have a couple of scripts that I've done, even some that I totally forgot that I did years ago. And I was like, all right, I'm going to polish those, give them to my agent, and ask him to send it to Whoopi.
You should. She's a chameleon. Yeah. She's funny. She's serious. Mm-hmm. She's weird. She's quirky. Sister act. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I take bits and parts of her. Yeah. But then she knows how to be herself when she's not on camera. She's just who she is. Like, here it is. You don't like what's coming out of my mouth? You can turn me off. Mm-hmm. I love that about her. Love that about her.
She's an inspiration, just being herself. And on top of that, We graduated from Montclair State at the same time. She was getting her master's and I was getting my bachelor's. And
Wow.
we had learned that day, they didn't tell us prior, but we learned that day that she was going to be graduating with us. And we were like, and she was the guest speaker. And we were like, oh, okay. So, I sat back. I was like, ain't no sense in me sitting up in the front. I'm not going to meet her. It was all of the other students or whatever. They probably going to take her through a back entrance or whatever. And I don't like crowds. My mother raised me. I don't like to be in the middle of crowds. So I sat all the way to the back. And every time security turned their head, I moved further to the back. And then finally, he just looked at me and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm not going to move anymore. And I stayed right there to the back. And sure enough, when they were walking Whoopi off, she said her last speech. I'll never forget the speech that she told. It's embedded in my head. And she basically was stating that, they're going to get people that's going to tell you can't do it, you can't achieve it, and so on and so forth. She said, but you keep at it. She said, the only way you can't do it is if you stop. She said, keep at it, a door will open and you'll be able to walk through it. And so she said a lot of things along those lines. And it just stayed in my head. And so I was already touched emotional from that. But as God would have it, they walked her through the aisle to leave past me. And then she started reaching out and touching people's hand, and she was just walking through and shaking their hand and saying hi. Security was whisking her through. So I didn't even think that she was gonna, because I'm always like a scaredy cat. I learned from with my uncle. You give space with celebrities and things like that. Bombarded a lot or whatever. And so I'm watching her come up this long aisle, and she's shaking hands as she's going, and they're whisking her like, no, come on, come on, come on. And so it starts to simmer down because remember, I told you I moved back. And so I'm 3 rows back from the last real row that was supposed to be. And so as she passed that last person, she got about 2 rows before me. And so then she thought it was done. And then she looked up and she saw me and she said, oh, and in my brain, I felt like she was like a Black person. And she may not, but I felt like she did because she looked surprised to see me. And she grabbed my hand, she embraced it, she shook my hand, and then she put her other hand on top and shook my hand and was like, how are you? And I was like, fine. I almost cried because I hadn't expected it. And I was like, congratulations. She said, congratulations to you. And so the security pulled her like, no, we got to go. Because then people saw her stop and talk and they started to come, not bombarding, but they just started to walk. And so security pulled us like, no, we got to go. And so, literally he whisked her away.
Wow.
And I said, she said, you take care. I said, you take care too, but you'll see me again. And then she pointed her finger at me and then she left. And so
I love that.
Yes. And it's been plenty of times when I wanted to send something, but I was like, she ain't going to remember you, girl.
Why did you do that?
I wanted to send her something because, she lives in Jersey, but she lives in a very, very gated community. And so and my uncle wanted to meet her. Well, they've since met, but he wanted to meet her. So I was like, oh, how can I fix this so that, I could get the message to her that he wants to meet her and but it just seemed like it was just too much. And eventually they organically met each other or something. And so I was like, all right, so I can't use that.
Yes, you can, man.
But
it's going to happen for you.
Yeah. So no, what I said was that when I get ready to, get one of my scripts that I think she would be great for, and I actually have a couple of them, I said I would just give it to my agent and have my agent reach out to her agent. And then, we'll see what happens. And I'll tell him to say, you guys graduated, you shook her hand, or whatever. And we'll see if she remembers. But I don't think she's going to remember. That was a long time. It probably meant a whole lot more to me because of who she is. You know what I mean? So
those who are first are last, and those who are last are first. Girl, she didn't pass me by, so I believe she does remember you.
If it wasn't for him, we probably would have had a nice little conversation.
Yeah.
Her away. And I understood it too, because people get excited, and then she's small. She's not a tall woman. So they would have all surrounded around her and everything. And I guess he was the only one walking her out. So I guess he didn't want all that extra, work trying to pull her through if they, but that was fun. But it was the highlight of my day because after graduation, my family all went back to work. My son went back to school. My daughter went back to work or school or something. I think she was in school. And so I was alone. And I would have been sad, but I had the fact that Whoopi Goldberg shook and held my hand.
See,
So
that's just like,
yeah, it got me through. I was like, I was about to cry, like, oh my God, everybody's going. But but I had her. I was like, yeah, but I met Whoopi.
she's gonna remember you. I believe it. It wasn't like a regular day passing by in a coffee shop. It was a graduation, and you were one of the few Black people. I think she's gonna remember.
Hopefully. I know my picture's in the book. I wonder if they put hers in the book. She may have a different book because hers was grad school and I was undergrad.
Still.
That's my Whoopi story.
That was beautiful. You see, and she was authentic and real and very kind.
But she's very caring. Like everybody that I've met, like she's very caring and she's very nurturing. And that's what, I think we should all be like that. But as you get older, when you've mastered something and you begin to move along, those that come behind you, you should, pour into them.
Yes, mentor.
Yeah, a lot of the older people, they do it, but a lot of the younger people, I don't necessarily see them reach back and do it,
No, because as you know, this generation, you get viral quick. So you think you know it all and you get rich easily and quickly because you went viral. You get attention easily, so you don't have to work as hard, which, that really messed with my mental state for quite a while. Seeing friends and other people like become viral and become this and become that at such a young age. And you're just thinking to yourself, I'm doing all this work and nothing's happening for me. But then that's when you do go through the work, when you do go through the process, you do take in what the older people have to say to you because you've been through it. It didn't happen as an instant gratification for you.
Well, you know what, to add to what you're saying, I kind of went through that as well. Some people are more focused. I wasn't that focused. I wanted everything in the world and I wanted it now, I could have been like on one of those TV commercials. I want my whatever and I want it now, because that's how I was. But what I found in time is that I'll tell you something that my son's football coach said to him. He kept telling the boys to stay the course. Don't run fast. They had to, first come in, they had to run around the track. He said, do not run fast. You're going to get cramps, run out of breath or whatever. Stop racing each other. Just run around and stay the course.
Yeah.
They never listened to him. Every day I would go out there for football. They would still race each other and beat. And by the time they got almost done, like the first lap, they were starting to get cramps. They were doubling over and he had to push them to keep going. And my son was just like me, obedient Jack. And he went to him and he said, don't feel bad because you're back here. He said, stay the course. You'll see why. He said, if you listen to me, you'll see why. He jogged with my son. He said, if you listen to me, you'll see why. And so he went to the side, and sure enough, my son, because every week my son would listen to him, but he would never win because he listened to him and stayed the course. But the other boys would win, but then as they continued to run, they would stumble over in cramps. And so I guess my son was getting to a point, he was like, nah, I want to win. So he was starting to pick up. So the coach ran up to him and told him, he was like, no, you've been doing good. Just listen to me. So my son listened. He kept staying the course. So when everybody else started getting cramps and falling off, he said, now watch this. And then my son made it not only around, but then feeling bad because they couldn't do it because they were doubled over in cramps. He ran up and started helping them, push them, to keep going. And he said, you ran two. They couldn't even do the second one. They was messed up after the first. He said, and the good lesson for you with this is stay the course. Don't try to beat everybody. Don't worry about who's ahead and who just beat who and they laughing and all of that. He said, you just stay the course. And so I find that with everything in life. And it pops into my head because my son actually started using it for a lot of things, and I did as well. And so for what we're discussing now, I applied the whole stay the course because we look at what other people have and we say, oh, I want that. It happened for them early. It happened for them fast. But maybe their journey is different from yours. And maybe so they need to get it now so that they can make the mistakes and then start over and do it right early versus you who are maybe a little bit more obedient Jack. So yours will come in time with the hard work. Your lesson is different. So that's just the way that I look at it. But you just, regardless, you stay the course.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's
hard, girl.
Yeah, it's not easy, but we stay the course. I can't think of her name. It's a white actress. She said she got her notoriety in her 50s or 60s, but she said that once upon a time she would have gotten angry, like, oh, I'm going to be old when it. But she said that when it happened, not only did she enjoy it, but the ride was much better than it would have been if she was
younger, yeah.
She said if she'd have gotten it younger, she'd have been, how you see some of those actors, they're on the tabloids, get them money issue, they just all in the tabloids, and they don't mean to be, they just were, picked, and they just want to be happy, but this is what happens, and the tabloids get a hold, and the whole thing becomes a fiasco. Versus it happens to you later, and you can just enjoy it.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't have to necessarily happen when you're older, but I get what you're saying, that process, that staying the course. And when you don't have that and you have the instant gratification, instant viral, instant like, you're not appreciative. And
you're not appreciative, and you can make mistakes because you're learning, especially like now. So much is changing now. I would tell anybody, just stay the course. We had a whole plan for Hits the series. We were told by, I won't mention names, we were told by a TV network, this is in 2019. Right now, we're only licensing because of the whole problem with the Writers Guild and the agents, right? And they told my agent, see if she'll be interested in, making it a film first. And we'll sit down and talk about the whole licensing thing. And then who knows, afterwards, we may be interested in, talking about the series. So I was like, okay, cool. So we jump on that bandwagon. And so we start aiming to do the film and everything, because I don't mind, whatever, whatever works. That's 2 projects I would have gotten on. So we started doing it, and then all of a sudden we find out it changed again. And when I talked to my agent and I talked to other producers, on Clubhouse, from Netflix, from Amazon, I find out, no, this is the deal right now. We've made another change. This is the deal. And, I read the article, I think in 2019, I think it was, that they were about to pour billions into original content. So, to that, I would say to you and to, other actors, stay the course. That's all.
Thank you. Yeah.
They will happen. But anyway, thank you for coming in and chatting with us.
This was so much fun. You just sang, so it was really nice that you was just singing. I had a really good time. It was really nice. And let's do it. Let's do it.